Alright, welcome to a new Heroes and Hardships game. We are continuing to play test the setting of codename Stormbolter. Unsure if that's going to be the final name of the game or not. But today I have with me, let's see, Walter Peck as Nero, Ghost as Titus, Sim as Maximus, and Zypher as Magnus. If you are unfamiliar with Stormbolter, this is a Roman space sci fantasy, and I'm not going to get into any really more of the details on that, but I'm going to start. We are in Chapter 1, and the family Opilio. Long ago did Marcus Aurelius take to the stars, bringing Romans of all creeds and castes to their new home. Rome would fall, he foresaw, with his magic, and to survive they must flee. Not only the Roman Empire, but Earth itself, and so, 10 generations hence, Rome is a republic once more, just as Caesar had wished it. But nothing comes without sacrifice, and New Rome has sacrificed much. Calustius was a desolate land, full of red sands, tall mountain ranges, and fierce electrical storms. Why did Aurelius choose this place? It was common knowledge he died just before it was discovered, so perhaps it was not his intention, but regardless, the great eagle was caught by the planet, and eventually Rome was refounded below. Here in Castrum Argentum, House Opilio rules. They had chosen the right side when House Invictus attempted to restore an empire, and although they were a minor family at the time, they did great things, and Titus Placus, Opilio's grandfather, was given this province and Castrum upon it. Argentum was named for the substance that helps fuel various devices of technology, smaller catcher rods and electrical insulators. The mines were ever busy with toil as clones did their duty as the new slave caste in this world. The family patriarch is Titus Placus Opilio, former senator and consul of Rome. He is a shrewd man, and in his youth a mighty warrior. His political acumen is unmatched, but those that know him find him a hard man, unbending and humorless. Titus Placus has 3 children, 2 vat-born daughters, Sextia and Vatinia, and 1 natural-born son, Titus Sextilius. Cassia and Vantinia's mother is Nox Cassus, daughter of the mighty governor of the stronghold of Mors Terra, where the vats of Khyber are hidden and guarded. Titus Sextilius did not share the same egg mother or real mother as his sisters. It was more complicated. His mother was Asimene Invictus. House Invictus had started a civil war 100 years ago, claiming the right of the empire for themselves. Romans that believed they should follow an emperor sided with House Invictus, but others rejected them and fought for a republic. The republic was finally prevailed after a long, bloody struggle. Most of House Invictus were sentenced to death by harvesting, and their genetic material was confiscated for the republic's greater good. A select few were allowed to live in order to propagate their bloodline and create unique genetic sequences. Ismene, I guess that's how you spell it, came from one such bloodline. No one knows how the union came to be or why, but Ismene has remained in Rome since Titus Sextilius' birth. As far as anyone knows, she has no contact with her son's father. Few dare to ask either about their past. For Magnus Corvus, a vat-born man of House Opilio, he had grown up in the same halls as Titus Placus. They were almost brothers, cousins actually. Corvus had a sharp mind and grew to serve Titus Placus as his consigliere. He had served with Titus Placus in Rome when he was a senator and then consul, and so would it be until his body was taken by the priest of Khyber and returned to the fountain of forever, giving life to a new generation. Maximus Decimus Meridius was a man not of Argentin. His father was not a governor or a politician, but indeed a soldier, a leader of clones against the badlands of the Red Waste, a killer of mutants and genetic monstrosities of the ancients let loose on this world to test them. He was a second son of his family's elder brother Quintio, and he follows in his father's line of work. Their father grew close to Titus Placus while in Rome and counted him amongst the greatest friends and allies. It had paid off, as Quintio was engaged to wed Placus's younger daughter, Vantinia, even though they were 15 years apart in age. For Maximus himself, he had grown up alongside Placus's only son, Titus Sextilius. They were close, they trained together as warriors crossing wooden swords, and when they got older, drank and whored. Fast friends that now start their adult lives and gain influence in their chosen or their parents' guided fields, politics and war. What were one without the other? And finally, the clone of Locusta family of the Vats of Khyber. He was a clone owned outright by House Opilio, raised and bred in 2 years from infancy to adulthood in that dark, secretive place. Memories and intelligences were fed into his mind during his gestation. He was less than a man, but more. He possessed skills no vat-born or true-born man or woman would ever have. He was something more than human. Nero was the first of his litter, and a select litter it was. How many Neros were there? Who knows? Nero had not kept his same face since his birth from where he was hatched. Sauls were easy to spot, as were Gracchus's and others, but not Locusta. They were chameleons. They were death upon the streets, and they were feared and hated. Nero was as fine a name as any. He had never been given one. None of his brothers and sisters ever were. Why have a name when you can become anyone? Today was a day of celebration. Titus Sextilius was going to Rome, but this time with an official title, Magistrate of the Games and Entertainment. Was it prestigious? Not particularly, but it would give Sextilius a start among the ladder of political influence and put him in the middle of those high and low. But this day wasn't about Titus Sextilius, as the house Opilio would find. Today was the beginning of something greater than them all, something that would shake the very foundation of New Rome itself. And so we begin. And let me get you guys over to this scene right here. The day has started, and it's probably, getting towards dusk outside as the sun reflects off the red sands outside, and the dust gathers and blows off the mountains, the high red mountains that all these castrums are seated on top of. You hear vaguely the crash of thunder outside, which is a constant in the background, and you know that the catcher on top of this castrum likely draws it in and to power all the systems inside. But this day was not one of mundane, it was instead one of entertainment and joy, as Sextilius has been given his place, a position to oversee the games, and the games were a large demonstration, particularly in New Rome itself, of once a year the largest games were beheld. These were chariot race and wrestling matches, gladiatorial events between clones, and so on and so forth. Fights to the death against strange creatures that have been harvested from the sands. People put to execution where their remains can be gathered and given back to the priest of Khyber. And that day will be coming soon, as Sextilius will head to New Rome, only perhaps about 30 miles away from this castrum and this province. Right now, in the large feasting hall, you see various parts of the Opilio family. You see Ceccio Opilio and Vatina Opilio, both Sextilius' sisters, vat-born half-sisters. You see your good friend Maximus and his older brother Quintio. You see your right-hand man, if you will, Nero Lacosta, who has an air of suspicion about him as people cast glances in his direction, as he is a clone. Seated perhaps away from you is Magnus Corvus, who is your father's man, but who has been assigned to go to Rome with you and help you. And then his personal clone, Saul, a guardian, one of the Saul family of guardians. And last is Cassius Consus Opio, your uncle, or Sextilius' uncle, the governor of this province. Not yet has Placus or his wife Nox Cassus entered the hall, but soon they shall be, and soon you will have to make merry, and this should be your last day at your home for quite some time. And I will let you guys kick it off with what you're doing. There's servants bringing in food and wine and that sort of thing. So feel free to roleplay amongst yourselves for a while. If you have introductions, that would be great.
Yeah, Titus, sitting there with Maximus and Nero, he's all smiles, obviously very happy about the day. Receiving this appointment's a rather big deal for him. And to give a bit of background on Titus, a short introduction. Titus was naturally born to the highly regarded Opilio family. Many expected him to become a worthy successor. His early years rolled by, he showed an exceptional charisma. People gravitated to him, gave him praise and admiration, and then realized that he wasn't very smart. Not meant to be mean-spirited, but was simply a statement of fact. He had curious questions, or had curious answers to simple questions, and this just piled one after the other until people realized that maybe this wasn't going to be a great successor to the family. That said, he found an interest in politics, and that natural charisma still in full force. He puts it to use as best as he can for the family, though he has his own agendas that he wishes to pursue. In this moment, he sits next to Maximus. He's talking about the plans he has for the games. Now, I want to do something. There's this beast. They have 2 or 3 heads. I want someone to fight one of those, I think. I think that would be a good initial introduction. One of the first few games I want to schedule in once I get to talking with people. But I have to figure out what the pool of warriors looks like that would want to fight such a thing. Maybe even 2 warriors? Or 1? I'm not sure yet. And he's like just drinking offhand as he's talking with Maximus.
Surely, there would be enough people that want some glory to fight the 3-headed beast. I bet you the pool will grow itself. Throw some coin into the mix, some drink and some favoritism. I'm sure you'll find all the warriors you need to fill them.
What if we had... We could make it a spectacle. You know, we could do like, we could see what political prisoners they have. Although that might not be a very good fight.
Yes, some people don't go for the fight. They just go for the blood.
He looks like he's deep in thought.
but I'm sure we'll figure it all out. After some drinks and some imagination.
He'll look at one of the prettier servants that walks by, and company perhaps as well.
Yes. If only all the company should look so good. He looks around. In fact, the only one here is your Saul over there. He never looks happy. Then again, there's our friend Nero.
Titus will elbow Nero. Cheer up, Nero. You look very sad. This is an auspicious day. It's supposed to be an exciting one.
Nero has been sitting quietly, kind of a dour expression on his face the entire time, while others are much more garish in their style of dress. Nero almost embraces his role of kind of unliked or considered a lesser individual. His Lorca Segmenta armor is black, but not in the shiny kind of well cared for way, almost like an absorbing of light kind of way, something nefarious that further plays upon the disdain that people have for him. There are rumors of abilities he has that some would consider unnatural, but if those rumors are true, no one has ever lived to see what those abilities entail. Despite being a clone, he does have impeccable manners following the commands of his lord, and he kind of turns and offers a half-hearted smile. Of course, Lord Titus, I am most excited for your promotion in this new adventure in your political life. It will be most interesting, to say the least.
Oh, of course, and he will throw an arm around both Nero and Maximus. It's not just my journey. We're all together in this one. You know, drinking, going places, seeing new things, going to New Rome. That's going to be an exciting time for all of us, I think. And I hope for great opportunities for both of you as well. I care for I would call you my friends. I would. But my friends drink, and he will fill Nero's cup with wine. So you need to drink more of that.
Nero takes a look at it and gives it like the smallest of sips. My duty is to be at your side, my lord. Therefore, the adventure you partake upon will be my own, but I need to ensure that nothing happens to you. Therefore, I will minimize my merriment for this evening.
Oh, and his hand waves at him. I swear my father worries far too much about my well-being. Who would want to hurt me? And he shakes his head. I think I will find some opportunities for the two of you in the city. It would not do me well to have all this aid and not try to help those who have helped me. And you have both been a great help to me.
That is most generous, but your success is all the reward I need. Whether or not it seems true, it just might be a rehearsed line, but he sticks to that kind of train of thought.
Nonsense. I'll pick your braid more when we travel. I'll find out what you want, Nero. Everybody wants something.
But right now, we want more wine. And he'll pour and grab some wine and pour it into Titus's and Max's cups, almost overfilling it. I think we want more wine. Yes. And he grabs it and takes a sip out of it.
As the two youths drink, Cassius Opilio approaches Magnus, the other aged fellow, and walks up to him and gives him a nod. Cousin? Cypher.
Is he muted?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, say that again. What did you just
He
say?
just said, "Hello, cousin."
Ah, yeah. So Magnus Corvus is sitting in the corner, looking at a stack of parchments. Um, he is deep in thought, and he sifts through these parchments, um, and then he kind of closes his eyes. Seems to be uh, crunching numbers on his fingers, and he looks down again and looks up again, and yes, and he kind of looks across the table at Sextilius holding court, and smirks when they keep asking for more drink.
Yeah, Consus says, "I have heard from my brother that you are to take Sextilius to Rome and watch over him. I would not be eager for such a task."
Ah, who am I to refuse my friend and my lord? But Sextilius can do well with good advice, and that's what I'm here for.
I
The best
worry
advice
that
I
no
can...
advice you could give him will keep him from getting into trouble.
The first piece of advice I would give is Ave ante saltum. Look before you leap, young one. I think if he can keep that in mind for the first few months, we should be all right. New Rome is a fascinating place. The public, the mob think the arena is where the blood is spilled. Not the case. More blood is spilled in the Senate every day.
Well said. Well said. I wonder, though, what happens when his mother comes to get her hooks into him?
That's what I'm here for. And I do not yet know the part Nero's gonna play, but he has been attached to this retinue for a reason. But it's not just his mother I'm worried about. There are others who wish to seek to depose Lord Opilio. After all, a gentum and us and our house being the main supplier does not sit well amongst the other houses. We may not flex our strength and our influence, but they know it is there. They know that the ore flows and all is well in the lands. The ore stops. And then when he says the ore stops, there is a massive boom of thunder that rolls across the sky outside, letting him leave his sentence unfinished, but the point made.
Our house has risen high, but they can always fall. The war showed this, even though we were not alive. Our grandfathers made this place for us, brought us up into this alien hold, and he kind of like passes his arms, and kind of the actual walls are not exactly like this. They're more alien in nature, very stark black, flat, almost very unceremonial, almost completely devoid of any kind of substance or decoration. And what was given to us can fall if we are not careful. I would hate for Sextilius to be the one that brings our house down by his foolishness.
No. I do not think. The boy is young, and he may seem a little bit on the lighter side of intelligence. But I believe he has a role to play. Do not discount his personality and how he gets the mob on his side. He can orate well when the time comes. He just needs to be told what to say, and say he will. He is loyal to the house, and that's the first thing we need. But
Well, loyal that he
downfall,
knows. He can easily be tricked, I would assume. That is where you will be responsible for him.
and that'll be my solemn duty, to keep him on track and to help him see the truth. But also, you do not worry about the failure of our house. Houses that stand alone fall faster. We need to become too big to fail, too enmeshed in the society of New Rome to fail, where the failure of our house would bring down the failure of many other houses who have become allies with us. And that is how we keep ourselves in power. That is how we keep ourselves in influence.
Wiser words have not been spoken. I will
There is a
entrust this to
saying
you, cousin, as
in
my
Hardships.
brother has.
Nimis Magnus ad deficendum. Nothing that is big fails overnight.
And he gives a slight bow and kind of walks back towards his own seat. At this time, two other people enter the room. They are Titus Placus Opilio and Nox Cassus. Placus is, of course, the lord of the house and father to Titus and his two sisters. He's an aged man, perhaps 70, looks 70, but probably he's actually in his hundreds. And Nox Cassus is his much younger wife, but the mother of the two girls, his daughters, Ventina and Caecia. And he kind of walks in. He's got this elaborate cloak hanging off of her shoulders, and she has a golden dress. And when he walks in, he kind of puts a hand up and gets everyone's attention and says, "My friends, my family, loyal servants and retainers, I greet you." And he gives a clap, and some of the people kind of bang on the table with a cheer, if you will. And as he does this, he says, "Today is the beginning of an auspicious restart of our family. As I come home from Rome, my Gallian son goes forward to conquer like the hero of old, like Scipio Africanus in the old world, like Caesar, to dominate his foes. His name will rise such as theirs and give great honor to our house, to Sextilius, and to House Opilio." And he raises a wine glass that has been brought to him, and everyone else cheers and claps. And then finally he says, "And now, drink your fill, son, and friends, and family, as these days that come will be filled with duty." And he takes a drink and then takes a seat at the head of the table. And he appears to be done speaking for the moment.
Yeah, Titus, once people go back to the talking, he looks to Maximus and Nero and says, "To me, in my honor, let us drink." And he clinks glasses to both of them, and he continues drinking.
Yeah, as the patriarch of the family finishes his speech, Nero bangs on the table and gives a here, and as Titus doesn't really slow down in the drinking, he just kind of casually nods and quietly listens like a good bonded servant does to all the stories of grandeur and whatnot that Titus has to share.
Yeah, after Maximus raps on the table as well. As soon as he hears Titus say, "Drink in my honor," he has no trouble following suit. After the clink glass, he slams his drink down. "We're gonna drink this place dry." And he'll wipe his mouth with his sleeve.
Magnus Corvus raises his goblet and says, "Officium honestas et fides," and he kind of points to all the sols around duty, honor, loyalty. And he drinks his goblet as well and nods to Titus Placus.
Yeah, there's probably about 6 sols in the room, and they don't even, nod, or they just keep their eyes up and looking around as they are bid to do as their duty. And you notice that Maximus, particularly, and those that are seated with Sextilius, is Vatina, and she moves over to the 3 of you. She is your sister, and she sits down next to Maximus and kind of looks around and looks at Sextilius and says, "Brother, are you getting that drunk already?"
What else am I supposed to do on this auspicious day? Like Father said, going to be travel and lots of duty, honor, duty, etc. What better place now than to get drunk? At home.
So you're saying you're not going to get drunk there?
Well, I didn't exactly say that, but after work, perhaps.
Maybe a little less. But as much as this party is for you, Maximus, I came to speak to you.
And Maximus will, in the middle of a drink, gulp real quick and set the cup down. And how may I be of a service?
Well, soon we are to be family. You are to be my brother-in-law, and I wish to know about your older brother, Quintio. I have not had much time to speak to him, and he seems a bit tight-lipped.
And Maximus will kind of nod. He's a stern man, smells bad, and gets angry quick. Anything else you need to know?
Well, that was not exactly what I was hoping you would say. Perhaps he is a kind and loving man?
He is. Yeah. It's being siblings, I gotta make him look good, But just make shitty babes once in a while, that is all. And let out another smile at her.
She looks over to Sextilius. Well, I'll let you boys enjoy your drinks.
Not to worry, but my brother will treat you well. He is a good man. I look forward to calling you my sister.
And you my brother. And she smiles and gives a nod. And why don't the 3 of you give me perception skill checks? Challenging. We'll just start there.
Oh man, I got buttons to click on.
Buttons.
Time to see if I have anything for this. This is gonna be a usual thing with me, I'm afraid. Checking abilities.
I can't click on my token.
Really? Yeah, some of them look weird to me. I don't know what's up with them. Hold on.
Whoa! He's huge!
He's a giant.
Can you click on it now? That's weird.
Nero,
too.
stop drinking!
No,
But you
left
can't.
kick and
Yeah,
nothing
it's like
back.
weird. It's
I'll
got
just-
like hold on, let me
I'll
see.
just do it for my sheet.
Yeah, that's okay too. I'll see if I can
You said perception.
Yeah, perception.
Challenging rolls. Any? Is it just like standard?
Yeah, that challenging is TN25, I think.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Yeah, challenging's 20 for this PL. Yeah, you guys nailed it. Sim, you nailed it. Yeah, you all noticed that Vatinia gives Nero a quick look. Not one that you would suspect would be like kind of looking down on him, but just kind of one of curiosity, maybe. It's hard to exactly tell. But she gives him a look and then kind of walks back away and goes to talk back to her sister.
And Titus picks up on it and immediately he elbows Nero. Did you see that? Did you see that?
Nero had noticed it, though he didn't know how much he wanted to admit to it, and he goes, I noticed it. It was noted, though. I am not quite sure what her curiosity is.
I mean, I have a few guesses, but I don't know that you're going to like to hear them.
I'm sure you'd like to hear them.
Feel, my lord, you will tell me regardless.
You know, she is perhaps, as Maximus has so illustriously described his brother, perhaps is not marrying the greatest of men. No, he is a good man, Quintio. Is a harsh man, perhaps not the best person to be married to, and she cast a glance at you. I don't know, Nero. I think my sister might be fond of you.
I think we all know you two. Titus, young Titus, that marriages are not of the loving kind, but the political kind. She will do her duty to the house, as is expected, as I will do mine, though I am aware of certain liberties that individuals take with their bonded servants from time to time.
Oh, and if my sister were to call on you before or after marriage?
I am the property of House Opilio. I do as I am commanded.
That's a sad answer, but perhaps a good result anyway. He drinks.
Yeah, Nero doesn't elaborate beyond that, but he definitely will probably keep it within his peripheral vision an eye on Vatinia to see if she continues to look over at the trio or the group talking.
One second, guys. I'm trying to figure out what's up with these tokens. They were working. It's just that scene where they're messed up. Okay, weird. Okay. Yeah, so does anybody have anything specific they want to do right now before we move on?
I'll talk to Magnus, I think,
Okay.
Titus, as
Yep.
people are going around. Yeah, Titus will go over to Magnus. So, out of character, would he be... I know he's my dad's cousin. Would he be considered like my uncle of some variety?
It'd be like a cousin. Just a,
Cousin?
he's your dad's cousin, so he's barely
Second cousin
related
or
to you,
something? Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, he goes... Magnus, I hear that you will be coming with us.
Yes, my lord. I will keep you company in New Rome, help you manage the affairs of our house, and there will be a lot to take care of.
I'm happy to have you. My father's always spoken highly of you, and I've thought well of you when I've seen you. I don't know that we've talked a great deal over the years, but I look forward to better getting to know you, perhaps over a drink or three.
Yes, indeed. But I do take my drink only in private, so yes, when we are by ourselves, then we shall drink, and I shall explain to you the things that go on in New Rome. There are always games within games that happen in the Senate, and it's not just what we see, just the stuff that we do not see, the stuff that we do not hear that comes to bite us in the end.
Oh, Magnus, I'm certain that everyone's going to love me. It'll be fine. And I'm a master of games now. Well, a magistrate. Does that constitute a master of games? Perhaps I don't understand the duties fully just yet. I'm in charge of everything there, right? With that portion.
Yes, yes it is. You are the magistrate of games, but you could become a master of games, not just at the Colosseum, but in the Senate as well. With enough time and training, I believe people will tend to underestimate you, young lord. Let them. Feed into it. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you one thing and be another. And then if that's the case, you will do well. You will do this house proud.
I will take your advice to heart, Magnus, but do they host games in the Senate? I thought it was only the Colosseum.
Oh, they do host games in the Senate, young Opilio, but it is not the games you think of. It's the game of cat and mouse, light and dark, saying one thing in public, doing another and meaning another in the private chambers and private discussions. Having orgies with the right people, making sure the right people are seen, the right people are fondled, right people are... You get my drift.
You are now speaking my language. Yes, I understand completely. And he will pat Magnus on the shoulder. I think that we are going to do excellent work there. I do.
Indeed we will.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Titus goes back to mingling, and he'll make a face at Vitinia, like he kind of narrows his eyes, like a sly smile, like I know what you're up to, kind of thing.
She
around.
catches your eye and just kind of looks away to her other sister and like just takes a drink. At some point during the festivities, Titus Placus approaches his son and friends and colleagues. Says, "Son, are you ready for your great duty?"
Born ready, father. Absolutely. And he's feeling a little bit drunk now, but he's slowed his drinking, knowing that he was going to have a conversation. Yes. Absolutely, father. I am more than prepared, and you have given me all the good friends and help that I could ask for.
You are to make a good impression for our family, son. And there, eventually, you will rise past this magistrate of games, and one day to the Senate itself.
I think so, father. I think, I think it is realistic I could be a senator before 30. That gives me 4 years. He smiles and he just points at his dad.
We will see. I believe that you have skills that others do not by your birth, genetic heritage. But things are not as regulated as others. When you grow in a vat, your birth attributes are known within a certain range. But a natural child, such as yourself, some are great failures, while others are the greatest these years this planet ever knows. I hope that you decide which you shall be, and rise high for our family. You are my only son. I do not wish to make another.
Yeah, Titus will rise, a little bit unsteady at first, but he gets his bearing. He looks at his father. Father, I swear to you solemnly, I will not fail you or our family. You have my word. Our house, it will be in ascendance. And he will offer to give his father a hug, basically.
Yeah, you reach in to give him a hug, and he kind of puts his hand on your chest and kind of pats it instead of like letting you hug him, and says, "Good, good. I'm glad to hear this. Tomorrow you will ride early with the dawn to beat the great sands. You will want to get to Rome soon and start your mission. Your ascendancy of our house, after all."
Yeah, and he looks back at how much he's drank and thinks about how he'll have to wake up soon. Yes, I will do as you say.
Good, good. Nero, Magnus, may I speak to you, please?
But of course.
Yes, Lord. And he kind of stands up and kind of sits there like deferred.
Yeah, he said Magnus and not you, Maximus. Magnus. Yeah, Magnus and Nero, and he kind of waves you both over and kind of walks away from Titus and Maximus, leaving them behind to drink and do whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, Magnus gets up from his side of the table, shuffles the parchments together and kind of folds them and puts them in his cloak and walks towards Titus Placus.
Yeah, as he kind of gets you a bit secluded from the rest of the party, he says, "You will need to keep an eye on him, as you know." And looks to both you. But there's something else. The great plan turns, and there is something we must do in New Rome.
Name it and shall be done, Lord.
One second.
Or is it Dominus?
It could be either.
Dominar.
Dominar. He floats around and farts and. Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
On me right, Joe.
Yeah, he says, "There is someone in New Rome that has something that I require."
What is that?
An alien artifact.
Is this one of the houses that has this artifact? Or someone that is not of proper lineage?
If only it was someone that was of a noble house, perhaps we could negotiate for it. But no. It is Decima the maid, and I'll let you, Magnus, you can give a lore skill check just to see how much you know.
Okay.
So it's spelled such as this. And yeah, oh yeah. So Decima the maid is a notorious criminal. She is a woman who is supposedly natural born, came from a major family some years ago, probably during the War of House Invictus, and fell out of favor, and now is a criminal under, basically a gangster. And he says, "She will not give it up. I have already tried to negotiate with her. The amenity of our two houses, or her former house and our house, from the wars, still holds. But I need it and I want it."
What does this artifact look like, my lord?
I
Is
do
it
not
small?
know.
Is it large?
It is small. From what I have been told, it is called the Black Sphere.
And do we know what capabilities this black sphere possesses?
Yes, I know what it possesses. It is not dangerous. You can tell he's very specifically not telling you what it does.
If we were to acquire it, my lord, how would we know that we have the genuine artifact? Is there a way to test it?
There is someone that you can take it to that I trust in New Rome that will be able to do this. It is... what's her name? Yeah, this is who she is. Oh, I don't have a token for her. But yeah, that's her. Take it to Chrysias Ponticus. She is a priestess of Kyber in the city. And that might give you some hints to kind of some of its potential. It has something to do with the priest of Kyber, apparently.
Very well, my lord. I believe young Sextilius might be the right person for this job. He has an air about himself that someone like Decima the maid might not think of as a threat. Nero and I will do what we can to slowly but surely lay a trap and see if we can get Decima in a position where your offer cannot be said no to.
She could also slit his throat, or manipulate him, as I said. Be wary. I leave how you retrieve it up to you, but send word as soon as you do.
And what of the child's mother, Ismene? Does she have plans for him?
I do not know. She has not spoken to him in many years. There's no
Very
great
well.
amenity between us, but... What were you saying? Was that you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very well. But I will keep an eye on her as well. One can never be too careful.
Yes. This is her. She's not token yet either. But yeah, he says, very well. He looks to Nero. Make sure my son gets up early tomorrow. He shouldn't be too comfortable. The red wastes are dangerous, as you well know.
I will prepare him as best as I can, and he will be ready on time.
Very well. See to the travel arrangements, Magnus. Have your soul drive one of our skiffs.
Shall be done, my lord.
He nods. Very well. I will leave you to it.
Magnus turns to Nero. Dealing with Decima is not going to be easy. She will be prepared for plans that our house might make. We will have to investigate her power and her network in New Rome first to understand how we may infiltrate it.
We will analyze her strengths and weaknesses. We will treat it as a puzzle to be solved, and when we find something that we can apply pressure to, we shall. And then, when the time is right, we will retrieve this orb by any means necessary and give it to the priestess.
And tell me, Nero, I have never seen it, but I've heard of it in whispers. Can you truly change your appearance when it suits you?
I am simply an asset of House Opilio. I use what abilities I have when it is called for.
Very well. So I feel that might come in handy if our Lord's orders are to be met, and if Titus Sextilius is to climb the ranks of New Rome to reach the Senate.
We will ensure House Opilio is well positioned to advance young Titus's career.
Duty, honor, loyalty. A good evening to you, Nero. And with that, Magnus gives a short bow and retires for the evening away from the banquet hall.
Nero nods to him without saying anything and returns to the side of Titus to make sure he doesn't go full-blown drunk and unready for his trip tomorrow.
Yeah, anything Titus and Maximus wants to do for the rest of the night?
Just one more drink.
One more drink, one more drink, one more
Yeah,
drink.
It'll be just one more.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's take 5 minutes and then we'll keep going.
Alright.
Yeah, these tokens are jacked up. I don't know why. I don't understand what's going on. Roll 20.
Classic issue.
Yeah, it's got them like their radio buttons are 1, which is not right. My API is not working. Can you guys select your tokens? I'm guessing Titus
click
can.
mine. Yep.
I'm guessing
I can.
Magnus can't and Maximus can't because they're jacked
Not
up.
me.
So. Yeah, I don't. It's gonna be kind of a problem.
I can select.
Here, let me
my-
reload my screen. Maybe there's something wrong on my end.
So Magnus can grab his. Let's see.
Yeah, it's working now that I reloaded. We're good.
Okay. So. Alright.
Alright, my bar is working now.
Now wait until Sim gets back. Okay. The next day dawns, and particularly for Titus and Maximus, your head throbs as you're woken up before the sun arises. It could be Nero waking you up, perhaps. But yeah, you don't feel. Well, it's just for role play. Let's make a stamina skill check and see just how bad you feel. You did kind of.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. You both feel pretty terrible as you wake up. Yeah, you're kind of nauseous, headache. You both wake up not in your rooms, kind of just somewhere random, maybe. And you wake up to Saul and Nero standing over you, Titus.
Does it have to be now? Can it be in a half hour, perhaps?
I apologize, Lord Titus, but your father wants you up and ready to go.
And he will reach out a hand. Nero, would you mind helping me up?
This is your first day as magistrate. You need to play the part, to be the part.
I do. Which means I'll have to drink again later. Fuck me. And he will slowly get up from the floor that he was on.
Yeah, Nero doesn't really offer him a hand or anything. He'll take these small little victories of him being just hung over to the extreme. But yes, you will have plenty of time for pomp and circumstance and drinking and making merry with all the other politicians and their wives. But for now, we need to be ready to move.
Alright, do you have, is there a basin somewhere of water? And he starts kind of looking for water to dunk his head in before they get moving.
Yeah, I'm sure there's those things around.
And once he does that, he's good. He's, oh, alright. He pats his chest and changes into some good clothes. He's ready.
Yeah, at some time you, the rest of you kind of all make your way to the departure area from the castrum. And it's basically at the bottom of this massive tower that sits on top of a mountain, essentially. And the bottom of it is like this humongous, almost like garage door. And inside are like all these skiffs. And these skiffs are similar to what you might see in Star Wars, like land speeders, only they're wider and more kind of fortified on top. And this one seats 6. There's 5 of you, and Saul, one of the Sauls, Magnus's Saul specifically, walks over and climbs into the pilot's chair and begins running his pre-flight checks and whatnot, as everyone else kind of walks down into the hangar.
Yeah, Maximus goes to the cliffside and removes some of his stomach contents off to the side, and then reapplies his helmet and looks around to see if anybody saw him and rejoin the party. Too early these days.
We have to get there to Rome. New Rome. He is rubbing his eyes. Hopefully the trip is relaxing.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Perhaps next time we stop and we say we're gonna stop.
We always say that, and then we continue to say one more. It happens every time.
One of these days we'll learn.
Or we won't, and life will be that much more fun.
Our definitions are fun, a little different. Kind of crack his neck. The floor is unforgiving. The wine is just as unforgiving. Hopefully the trip is forgiving.
Let's see.
Saul reports from the from the pilot's seat. We are ready, my lords. Whenever you are ready.
Titus will look to Magnus. Do we have everything? Or is there anything that we still need to get? And he looks at everybody in this give.
No, my lord. I think we have everything we need for our journey. It's all been loaded. New Rome awaits.
Yeah, the Saul hits a button, and it kind of, as everybody's seated there, this this canopy rises and kind of rises, comes over the seats and sits down. It's kind of with this clank, and you kind of look out through the opaque windshield on all four sides. It's partially shielded, or armored at least, and he hits it's kind of like a throttle, like in an airplane, and he pushes down, and you make the steep descent down this what's clearly this sort of smooth part of the mountain, and you're going pretty fast initially, and you just being hung over. It's like being on a roller coaster. Probably doesn't feel so good until you get to the bottom and you start to level out and start winding through these cavernous valleys and whatnot out of the mountains, going probably about 100 miles an hour.
Oh, jeez.
So the day begins to pass. It takes about a full 24 hours to get there. Saul doesn't need to sleep, so he keeps driving. And it's getting to be dusk. Everybody's feeling a bit uncomfortable he has to slow down at portions and go pretty slow as you're going through these mountains, getting down into this valley. And he said, go ahead, everybody can give me a lore skill check as you get further and further away, kind of technically outside the province. .21's pretty good, even though you're not trained. Magnus Corvus, I'll just whisper you something, let you kind of...
As the Saul kind of comes down a red-colored dune, and they seem to be now in some sort of a valley, a short valley, but more like a ravine between hills of red stone. He looks to Nero, Titus, and Maximus. This area is known as the Demon's Maw. Abominations and mutants take refuge in these parts. We must be wary. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, go ahead and give me everyone can give me a perception skill check. Jeez.
Which PL this is?
Huh?
Which PL is this?
2.
I'm just looking at the bonus sets.
Oh, yeah. Need a way to kind of tie that in automatically. Foundry can do it. PL2, what's your bonus set? Is it 1 or a 2? 1 will be a benefit.
2 benefits plus 3 modifier?
What
That's
is
a
what
level
is your
4.
bonus
No,
set? What is
it's a
your
level
bonus-
4.
A level 4 bonus set? There's no such
No,
thing.
I was reading something.
Oh, okay.
Alert. They had a level 1 bonus set.
Yeah, that's a benefit.
Gotcha.
Nice. Yeah, so Maximus and Titus, you see the glint of something up on one of the cliffs as you're passing the mountain, and you see that there's a couple figures up there, one with a gigantic rifle, and it's aiming down at your skiff.
Maximus, as soon as he makes eye contact with it, is going to react by pulling Titus down and kind of putting his body in front of him.
Oh,
We got a sniper up there.
Magnus, do you want to roll drive for Saul with a benefit since you guys were seeing? Or
Yeah,
since
sure.
you did see him.
Hold on. Drive for Saul. I can
Yeah, with
click on
one
Saul.
benefit.
Sure. Drive with one benefit. Saul.
Holy shit.
man. Who is this guy?
Wait, I gotta see if that's right. That's crazy.
Whoa.
And he does have 5 agility, so yeah. Plus yeah, okay. Yeah, well, okay. So let me do what he's gonna do. I don't.
We can call him Dominicus Saul.
Oh man.
The
PL2. What are you gonna do? What am I doing here? Okay. This is gonna be a little weird, but it's actually minus. It's actually 44, but it's still a miss. So this he takes a shot and it's kapow, and it misses the skiff completely. Saul, how you describe it, Zypher? How he like drives you out of the valley.
Yeah, so, just as Magnus says that this is the demon's maw, Maximus has got his head on a swivel, sees these mutants up on the ridgeline and calls out. At which point Saul hears the warning. He pushes the scab into overdrive and actually starts, pushing the skiff along the ridge, the ridge wall, like he's like riding along a wall, those motorcycles that do
Yeah.
that along the wall, and he's like riding it just as the bullet kind of ricochets off the cliffside, and then he kind of does a 180 somersault, almost causing Maximus and Titus to hurl their remaining drink before kind of leveling out and shooting off into the distance.
Yeah, as Saul just drives away, you see the mutants just for maybe 30 seconds longer, and then they disappear as he makes a cut across the valley into another turn, evading their ambush.
Maximus, once they get out of sight, is going to let Titus back up, but he's going to kind of give him a look over, making sure there's no damage to him or anything.
And not that
patting
you
him
can
down
tell.
and everything. Ah, that is pretty close.
What? Are they shooting at us, or they missed?
Yeah, due to some impeccable driving, they missed.
Oh, well, excellent work, Saul. Oh,
Thank
I'm
you, my
sorry,
lord.
what?
Piloting is one of my primary functions.
Yes, very clearly. Which number were you again?
I am 14, my lord.
Thank you, Saul 14. I'll remember that. He leans back in the chair.
And Sol 14. Let's see, what would that be? Burp, burp, like that. I think that's 14. Yeah. So Sol 14 has you on your way, and in the distance, finally, that next morning, everybody sleeps maybe, or some of you do, and they're fairly comfortable, and you see kind of the large monolith buildings of New Rome. These buildings, unlike the castrums that you're familiar with, either the large ones or the small ones, are actually made by Romans, and they look very similar to Roman architecture. Rome sits in a valley very uniquely, with mountains basically on four sides of it, completely surrounded. And on the top of the peaks of all these mountains are these massive, what they're called as storm catchers, and those are what catch the electricity. So fortunately for this area, which was found many hundreds of years ago, that something could be built actually on the outside, instead of just in these castrums that were found when the Romans settled this planet. And because of all these catchers, there's never been one instance of any of the lightning getting through. They're all caught before they reach Rome itself. The buildings are not huge, based on the fear that the higher they get, the more likely they will be struck. However, there is some notable exceptions, one being the Colosseum and one being the Senate, which are the bigger buildings. But they're more wide than tall, even still. And you kind of make this turn, and there's a kind of what you would consider a road going in. Road's not in for walking because no one usually does that here. There are crawlers, which are on tracks or gigantic wheels, but most actual transportation is done with skiffs, either these massive skiffs, or personal transport skiffs like these that you're in. The one thing that's of interest as well is the atmosphere of this planet is not totally breathable. In most areas, for instance, in and around your castrum, it is not. But in the area around Rome, it is more breathable, and there are some devices that have been designed, and particularly what's called the bubble. And the bubble is something that was created by some of the magi, which are not very common, to protect the atmosphere of Rome from the outside, so it is completely breathable. And you can tell as you pass through it, because there's this slight blue sheen that goes over your skiff, and you can see on the dials on the skiff where there's kind of an orange hue before you pass it, and then it flips to green, and Saul announces that atmospherics are intolerable levels, my lords. I can raise the top if you so wish.
Oh, yes, so by all means, go ahead.
And he does, and it just pulls back almost like a convertible, kind of like Luke's land speeder in Star Wars, kind of, and kind of he kind of accelerates a bit, and the wind's rushing through your hair. It's hard to hear, but it's kind of exhilarating as those that have not been to New Rome. I don't know if Sextilius has been to New Rome yet or not, but it's very just walking around outside without a environmental helm or a rebreather. It's not something that is done anywhere else on the planet that you're aware of besides in the castrums or other interiors.
Yeah, I would say Titus has not been before, so this is all new to him. This is an experience to him. Now he's looking at everything and taking it all in, has a big smile on his face.
Can you see the screen?
Yep.
The new slide. Yeah, as you kind of pull in, you see there's a checkpoint essentially as you come into the city, and these two centurions walk over. You notice they're actually Praetorians specifically. They wear like purples instead of the reds of the great families of Rome. So they're more the Praetorians are actually beholden to the Senate in this setting, and they help police Rome itself. And they kind of hold their hands up as you kind of get close, and Saul slows down, and they come up over to the side of the skiff and says, "Good morning, sirs. What brings you to Rome this day?"
Magnus speaks up. Good morning to you, centurions. This is Lord Titus Sextilius Opilio, Magistrate of the Games, newly appointed, and we are his convoy. I am Magnus Corvus, representing House Opilio.
He looks at everyone else and just says, "Letters of passages, my lords. It is good that you have come." And he kind of reaches out, and you basically have documents that says you're allowed to come and go.
Yeah, so Magnus reaches into his tunic and pulls out letters of passages for their entire group.
Yeah.
Here you are.
He unfurls the scroll and looks at it pretty quickly, and then rolls it back up and hands it back and says, "Thank you, my lords. You are free to go." And he just kind of takes a step back. And the street is fairly wide at this point, and you see in Magnus, you've been here many times, and you know where they should park the skiff. You know where your estates are in the city and all that stuff, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, so Magnus will direct Saul to first take them to the estate where Titus and Maximus, Nero and himself. I'm assuming we're all in the same estate, right?
Yeah, it's just like a villa in the city.
Yeah, in the villa, yeah. He kind of directs him, and whenever they come across a few streets that are packed with people and carriages, he kind of takes him down a couple of side streets till they get to their villa.
Okay, give me 1 second here. That should just take 2 seconds. Yeah, feel free to roleplay amongst yourself while I'm just building a slide real quick.
Yeah, so Titus is, he's excited to see the villa. Magnus, do you know the kind of decor that these villas usually have? I don't want something that's... I don't want to come across posh, necessarily, to any of guests that we're entertaining, but I do like a bit of flair in the furniture.
Ah, yes, my lord. You may not like the current decor, as it was something to your father's liking, but I can uh, guide the souls and the house help to various merchants in town um, with directions from you on things like furniture and tapestries and food and drink, and glasses and wines and of the sort. We can make the villa more amenable to your style, to your liking, so that you may host and represent our house in a manner that is most comfortable to you.
Oh, not just for me, for all of us. There will certainly be places that I'm going to have up to my certain particulars, but I'll be getting, I'll be asking you, each of you, various questions about what you would like in your rooms, what you would like there, things like that. I want to make sure that it's amenable to all of us. We're all going to be staying there.
Indeed. There is a particular room in the house that I will show each one of you. That is our retreat room, our strong room. Um, that is somewhere that we can meet and discuss more private matters. Do not ever talk about this room to anyone outside of our core group. It is where we may seek refuge in times of need. But I do not think we will see those times, but it always helps to be prepared.
I'm excited to see this room of subterfuge, and he rubs his hands together.
Yeah, you find like the villa. It's a bit. One thing you do notice, Titus, as you're going through the city, is you do see the Colosseum off in the distance. It's not particularly close, but you do see it, and it doesn't. You have no idea what's going on there now, but it might be pretty exciting to see what you're in charge of, this massive structure, the biggest structure in Rome, and certainly the biggest structure, man-made structure in this entire planet, as far as you're aware. Built, one of the first things that was built when New Rome was founded was the Colosseum and the Senate. And so you do see that in the distance as your skiff passes by and kind of moves around the streets until you finally come up to your villa, and you're able to park there. There are servants taking care of the villa still, moving about, doing daily chores. There's hydroponics. They're like there's vegetation, which is which everybody knows this is common practice. It's not fake per se, but it's cloned, and it's cloned from a garden that Marcus Aurelius had brought with him. So there's very certain plants that are there that, and in the future they've been cross-pollinated and cross-bred with each other. There's some unique shrubbery and grasses and flowers and that sort of thing. It all looks very pretty, like you would imagine Rome did in the day, and that you were taught as children that everything looked like around the Mediterranean as you pull up. And the servants are the typical Gracchuses, and I can't remember what I call them both, but there's a actually I'll have to look, but there's a gender neutral name that they give all the servants. Female and male alike, they are actually working, and as they see you pull up, they kind of turn and kind of drop to their knees and wait for you to approach.
Yeah, as Titus gets out, he sees them drop down. He's like, "Oh, please rise, rise. I'm not a senator yet. Please rise, rise, up, up."
Yeah, and they do, and they just stand there kind of quietly. One of them actually comes out. It looks like an older woman, a bit of a weathered face, and her name is Roman name generator. I feel like Bo and Paladin.
That's a curious name.
Female names. Uh, Korea. So Korea is this lady, and she comes out and she bows her head, and she looks like she's probably your father's age, or says, "I master, I was told of your coming. I am Lady Korea, the caretaker of your father's house."
Ah, yes. Pleasure to meet you, Lady Korea. I am Titus Sextilius Opilio. These are my friends and associates. Nero Locusta, Maximus Decimus Meridius, Stall 14, and Magnus Corvus. And,
Of course,
well,
I know Master Corvus. Welcome to your home. I can show you around the estate if you so wish.
please do. Yes, I would love to see it.
Yeah, she takes you to all the rooms. It's quite big, not as big as the castrum, but it's very different, right? Because you're not you've heard and studied probably in your studies in school about this kind of architecture and whatnot, the Roman architecture, which you really don't see a lot of at the castrum. You see, they tried, there's statues and stuff, but the actual building itself is not is very alien. And this is kind of a stark difference, very ornate compared to the castrums and where you would live typically. Lots of tapestries. There's like lots of tapestries at home too, but this is all just a little different. And yeah, she shows you to basically your father's room, which is now your room, and that's up here. Very, very beautiful and ornate, and everybody else has Magnus has his own room, and the others are shown to their guest rooms.
Yeah, as they're going through, Titus is taking everything in. He looks to Korea. Now, it all looks very well. I will be getting a list from everyone on some changes that they want to make on their room, and I hope that you and your servants are up to the task of going out and gathering some things. I'll be relying on you. You know the city a bit better than I do for now. So.
Oh, of course, my lord. Whatever your wish is, we will see to it.
Good, good. But everything looks immaculate here. You and your staff have really taken care of this. I mean, there's very little I feel I wouldn't even need to change. It all looks very nice.
Thank you, my lord. She just bows her head. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I think not. Oh, drinks. Yes. Nothing too strong. Just a glass of wine all around.
As you wish. And she bows her head and walks off, and will get the other servants ready to bring you your drinks.
And Titus will look to Magnus. Wow. Magnus, I dare say you undersold this place a bit. This is remarkable. It is much more exciting than home in terms of how it's the visual. It looks very. I think the word they used in school was authentic.
I'm pleased to hear that, my lord. Yes, New Rome has each sees something of themselves, but something that they can aspire to be in New Rome. I am glad you see things that way. I think you will fit in here very well.
I think so too. Oh yes, what everyone needs for their rooms. And he will go into a lengthy trying to pick at everybody's brain about what they want in their particular rooms.
Shopping!
Stop it! I won't do that to you, Ted. Not on screen.
Magnus also looks to Sextilius and says, now that we have arrived in New Rome, there will be some dignitaries that we must entertain in this house. It would be custom, since a representative of House Opilio is in the city limits. I will also instruct the staff to buy the necessary food and drink that these dignitaries will most respond to well. It will be a good sign that shows that the son follows in the steps of the father. It is a good word to get out there.
Oh yes, no, that's very wise, Magnus. Yes, I agree. We should do that. Absolutely.
As you wish, my lord. And Magnus kind of steps away a bit and speaks to Carrier. He kind of gives her a list of things to get, and then he finds a couple of souls who would send out invitations to allies of House Opilio and some other merchants in town that have done business with House Opilio, just to let them know that the young lord is in town and Opilio is here to take care of them, and they should take care of Opilio.
Yeah. They start working on that, and yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to do before we end it for tonight? I didn't expect you guys to get this far, honestly. That drive roll threw me for a little loop.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Dominicus.
No. Nero will basically do what any servant will do. He will assess any potential threats beyond Titus to himself, of course, with kind of his cavalier attitude, and he'll remain fairly quiet.
Titus is again gonna just pick at everybody until he gets their entire room set up.
you get the
He spares no expense with making sure that everybody's rooms are furnished to their desires, and he also spares no expense to his own desires for furniture.
Magnus, are you letting Magnus handle the business end of that? Or are you going to? Making the deals to buy the stuff and...
I would feel... Well, everybody loves me, so why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a stewardship roll.
Now, Nero wants his room utilitarian and adjacent to Titus's.
Yeah, there's like a guard room that's right next to it. Yeah, that would be...
Not a problem.
Yeah, that's good.
Stewardship, you said?
Yeah.
I know I have benefits to this in some variety. Hold
Okay,
on.
yeah, just check it. It's fine. Roll 20 is definitely not as...
So, stewardship of personal estate and accounts.
Yes, perfect. Yep,
Okay.
that would work.
So gear level 3, 2 benefits.
Nice.
Okay. I need to check abilities now. Oh god. Nope, alright. Benefits. Hardships. Oh yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, you somehow, some way, without knowing anyone, you are able to spend basically the least amount of money as possible and get the best stuff. So whatever flourishes that everybody wants, they all get them, and it's not going to cause an issue to your treasury in Rome or anything like that. It probably takes several days to a week to do this, but yeah, it will be all done to perfection.
Can I spend 1 currency to get delivery within 2 to 3 days?
With a 53, I think you can do it anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll spend the currency because I want to.
Okay, sure.
If-
Yeah. Just like,
You know, let the people know.
yeah, just let it. What's the yeah.
1 minute. What's? He basically
Flex,
gives everyone
flex
free
the
tickets.
checkbook.
He wants everyone to know, bask in his opulence.
Yeah, everybody's getting tipped exorbitantly, and I am sparing no expense with anything to get this delivered. And it's utilitarian for Nero, but it's fancy utilitarian.
It's the fanciest utilitarian thing that you could find.
Fuck yeah.
And as we draw to a close, their house mistress, Korea, walks and she heads to Sextilius's room or wherever he is at the time. And she has a scroll in her hand. She bows and says, "My lord, this came for you today, just moments ago."
Oh, excellent. Thank you. He'll get up from the chair he was sitting in and doing nothing and take it.
Yeah, it has a seal on it, and you can roll lore to figure out it's like the seal has some sort of iconology on it. Yeah, you don't know what it is, but it seems fancy.
Oh, good. And he will place it down and open it up.
You open it up and it says, "Dearest Titus Sextilius, it warms my heart that you have come to Rome. My friends have told me that you now occupy your father's villa. I would very much like to speak to you and catch up." And the end says, "Your mother, Isame."
Ooh.
And that's where we'll end it for now.
Yeah, nice.
Aw, shit.